agriculture and horticulture, students come from all parts of New Zealand and from other countries too. Let's meet some of them with the Secretary of the Students' Association, Alan Hughes.
The awkward-looking bloke is me, Alan Hughes, commonly known as Joe. I know most of the types around here. Of course, most of the crowd are New Zealanders. There's Peter Fraser of Auckland and Harry Lampton-Smith of Wellington. Here's a couple of football types from Wakatani, Pat Carter, team captain, and Ken Sullivan. You'll see every known variety of the Kiwi species here. We've quite a few Maoris too. Keru's from up north, and another Maori, Bill Hokapper, is from Taihape. We don't have vast numbers of girls, but there's enough to make things interesting. We've a fair number of Empire students. Here's a couple of Englishmen, and the chap behind the face fungus is English too. These two are Australians. One of them comes from a place called Poowong. Oppenheimers are South African, and Sheila Robb is a postgraduate from the Aberdeen University.
I came over to do research work for my doctorate of philosophy, and here's another postgraduate, Bill Myers from Indiana. He's on a Fulbright grant, and Jean Doutre's from Nevada on a GI scholarship. The two Indian students are here under the Colombo plan, and this boy's from Persia. The dark-haired lad's a Frenchman. There are students at Massey from China, Indonesia, Holland, and all over the world. We all like it here, and we're fast picking up a New Zealand accent. Oh, when I get home, they'll be calling me Assassinae. Well, now you've met some of us, and you'll meet a lot more of us as you go along.
Some have gone to lectures, and others to practical work outdoors. Parks and reserves maintenance is a college subject in which horticulture students have the whole grounds to work in. Assuming a commercial career ahead, the courses include cut flower growing and out-of-season forcing. In the nurseryman's course, plant propaganda. Students, as well as the beautiful college gardens, benefit greatly from the practical work. For practice in soil sterilization, water is used. For the real job, chloropicrin. All greenhouse soil is sterilized annually. Pruning is only one of the subjects fruit growers need to study. Besides this, the selection of land and rootstocks, planting, grafting and cultivating, water and drainage problems, everything right through the season to picking, grading and packing. Each poultry farming student has sole charge of a part of the college stock. One student in the course is Andre Boot, a new settler from Holland. All Massey chicks are hatched in electric incubators. This is an auto-sexing breed pioneered at Cambridge University, the females exhibiting a dark bar which is absent from the males. Recognized as soon as hatched, the unwanted cockerels can be culled at once. There is no need to feed them all for 10 weeks or employ a highly skilled chick sexer before the pullets can be distinguished. Trap nests allow exact recording of each pedigree hen's performance. The selectors permit only hens with a high laying average to join the breeding team. Breeding is in fact the most technical aspect of the poultry farming course. Both dairy technology and dairying diploma students learn the standard tests for cleanliness of milk. In their numerous laboratory periods, they apply methods of analysis, bacteriological examination, and chemical control of milk and dairy products generally. In this test, samples of milk are incubated at blood heat for 2 days, in which time any bacteria present grow into colonies, which can be counted. Bacteria in low-grade milk show up conspicuously in the right-hand Petri dish. To give all dairying students practical experience in manufacture, the college has its own butter and cheese factory. This is the butter making department. The factory is a base for research as well as for instruction. Australian Alec Buchanan is studying for the degree in dairy technology. Australian State Departments of Agriculture sponsor many students at Massey with a view to their returning home as dairy instructors. New Zealand dairy factories export more high-quality butter and cheese than those of any other country, so they offer plenty of scope for careers. In the cheese department, a dairying diploma student cuts the curd, a stage in the manufacture of cheddar. A diploma at Massey helps qualify a dairy factory employee who aspires to become a manager. Part of the factory's supply of top-grade milk comes from the college herd. Composed of Jerseys and purebred Friesians, the herd's primary purpose is instruction for the dairy farming diploma. These diploma courses are open only to those with previous practical experience. So Hela Lai, a Persian student, is testing milk.
My purpose of coming to New Zealand was to study methods of grassland farming, which is really something unknown in my country. The efficient methods of farming we are taught at Massey, and experience with modern machinery and equipment is really of great value to me. But our studies cover a wide range of agriculture subjects. And during my 3 years at the college, I have gathered a lot of new ideas which I plan to take back home and apply to our Persian conditions.
Dairy cattle improvement is vital to farming prosperity, and students learn modern methods of selection, including the study of all the daughters of an individual sire. The individual show animal is not so much stressed. These two groups are daughters of two different sires, one a Jersey family, the other Friesian. In each case, the average milk yield of the group will determine whether father will be bull or beef. His looks don't come into it. A great labour and grass saver is the electric fence. Limited to a strip at a time, the cows eat all the grass well down. If the whole paddock is open, much of the grass is spoiled and trampled. Here is the break where the fence was last hung. Dairy farming students must handle and maintain the electric fence with confidence. Year-round high-yielding pasture is New Zealand's basic asset. The electric fence prevents it being wasted. If Blossom tries to eat tomorrow's lunch today, she gets her neck tickled. Pigs are the dairy farmer's great sideline. 3 breeds are run at the college: Berkshires, Tamworths and large whites, and crossbreds are fattened. Students take turns at all practical work, including weekly weighing of all pigs to check on feeding and management. The finer points of pig breeding include the art of judging good baconers. The subject is studied from all angles. On the research side, the nature of the sow's milk letdown is being studied, while on the practical, some 250 pigs are sold each year. With sheep, one long-term research project concerns teeth. The lifetime dental history of hundreds of individual sheep on different farms is now known, and reasons are sought why some wear out their grass cutters a year or so before others. sheep with bad teeth will starve. This is a serious problem, but seems to have no simple answer. Dairy farming and sheep farming diploma students come together for a number of subjects. At the demonstration plot, they learn about supplementary feeding crops for sheep, run cattle and dairy cows. Here too, they learn the use of lime and fertilizer in pasture management, drainage techniques, and how to make hay and silage. One of the Maori students tests a soil sample for acidity. The tractor, wrongly used, can be a killer. Here's one way accidents happen. The load, represented by a post, is hitched too high. The instructor accelerates gently. At full throttle, a tractor can go over backwards in about half a second. With a too heavy load quickly, below and behind the rear axle, the worst that can happen is a wheel spin. Every practical farmer must be something of an engineer. Besides farm engineering, all agricultural students make a common study of veterinary science, the anatomy and physiology of such grim beasts as the dairy cow, for instance. If they are to develop into taxpayers, young farmers must make a profit. The farm economics course looks after this, the science of proper disposition of labour and resources. When Rod Polson of Auckland has his own sheep farm, he'll have good gates, thanks to the Massey carpentering class.
I was brought up in the city, but I always wanted to go farming. The course gives us a pretty good grounding in sheep farming. A good deal of our time is spent in the lecture room, but to me the most interesting part is outside, working with the livestock. We learn how to handle the sheep and the correct methods of doing the common jobs on the farm, like drafting, foot rotting, docking or dagging. Stock judging is important, knowing the finer points of the sheep and what to look for when we're buying our own stock. Beef production is a sheep farmer's sideline. That's the Galloway stud bull. Research is being carried out to find whether the hardy Galloway breed can increase production from store cattle on poor hill country. These yearling steers are being used for instruction in the cattle most popular for the export market. We're shown how to do most of the seasonal work on a farm. We learn correct procedure in the shearing shed, right from when the sheep are yarded and shorn until the fleece is skirted, rolled, classed, and finally pressed into the bale. Students in the professional wool classing course do shearing shed procedure too, and we sheep farming students must learn about wool and wool classing. It's a pretty thorough course, covering everything from pastures and soils to the use of land, labour and capital, and the business end of sheep farm management. It should give us a good start when we go farming for ourselves. Then, I suppose, it's a matter of experience and applying what we've learnt, and a chap putting his back into it.
The fleece is skirted and rolled under the instructor's supervision. New Zealand being the world's second largest wool producer, there's a steady demand for young men informed about sheep and wool. From shed to wool room, This is part of the wool classing course, and students are judging fleeces for manufacturing qualities. During the course, each student compiles for himself a wool book. This is a book of samples of types and qualities of fleece, and may serve him for a working lifetime. To check their progress, wool classing students have a weekly speed test. The college has full cooperation from the New Zealand Wool Brokers Association, so training is kept in line with current practice in the wool trade. Lectures leading outward from the practical work deal with all the varied purposes for which exported wool is purchased. College assistance does not end with the course. In the years ahead, whether they are following professions in the wool trade or farming the land, they can look to the college for advice and help. The college provides a wide range of services to farmers. For several days each year, they assemble at the college for a conference. There is much a practical farmer can gain from the latest research and learning. The popular open forum is chaired by Professor Perrin, the college principal, and farmers fire questions at the agricultural experts. The information gathered from the specialists and the interchange of experiences and ideas between farmers add up to more efficient farming. Lectures, films and demonstrations make up the program. Another service to farmers is a test for hairiness in wool. When benzol is poured over a sample, the wool becomes invisible and the hollow hairs show up clearly. In Massey's machine, a photocell measures the percentage of hair in the sample. Results from these tests help breeders to eliminate the fault of hairiness in their stud flocks. On many farms, waterlogging limits production. This is a problem to which the college knows all the answers, and to which, through the Drainage Advisory Department, it can bring the necessary machinery. Farmers take full advantage of this skilled service. College assistance to farmers is widespread. The latest information goes out right to where it will do most good.
The latest figure for the cost of aerial top dressing with superphosphate in the Manawatu and Taihape areas. Work at a total of £1 11 6 per acre, dropping at a rate of 200 weight to the acre.
Results of research and general farming information go out in the mail in the form of pamphlets and through articles in the agricultural journals. Students, too, read the farming journals made available in the college library. Student life is not all work. A summing up of student life in general is given by one of the Americans, Bill Myers.
I'm studying agricultural economics on a Fulbright scholarship. Student life is a good bit the same, I find, no matter where you are. A quiet evening shooting the breeze is common enough anywhere. We don't have fraternities in New Zealand, but that doesn't stop us all from having a darn good time just the same. We really have a lovely outdoor pool here at Massey. They tell me the students and staff built it themselves. It's a beauty. I think the subtropical ferns around it are just wonderful. There are good tennis courts here, too. And believe me, when the weather's good, they get a workout. Seems like everyone in the college, girls and all, is playing something. In the States, the girls pretty much drop out of sports by the time they're 16. Got to be feminine, you know. But the big sport around here, as it is all over New Zealand, is rugby football. It's a real passion with these people. The Massey team are in light jerseys. We get the big burly country guys here, and they're usually pretty durable. Have to be, because they don't wear 20 pounds of padding like Americans do. Just a pair of shorts and a jersey. At first I was confused about rugby, but it didn't take long to catch on. In America, you're through with football after high school or college. But I heard one fellow here say that he played for 26 years. Amazing, isn't it? I get a kick out of the different emphasis on things here. In New Zealand, graduation calls for a whole week of nonsense. During this week, there's a parade through town by the students.
They build floats and run around in the funniest get-ups you ever saw. They just about get away with murder, too. Boy, do they let off steam. And yet we all look forward to the day when we can put on our own cap and gown.
Graduation day at last. Here is a crop from which New Zealand will reap a rich harvest, for our wealth lies mainly in our primary products. And these graduates have the knowledge to make the earth yield in abundance. Some will go abroad to posts in universities or as executives in the sheep and dairying industries of other lands. The overseas students will go home to help in the development of their own country's agriculture. Through her achievements in teaching and research and her unflagging efforts to promote more efficient farming, Massey Agricultural College has earned an honoured place in New Zealand's national life and stands in the forefront of the agricultural colleges of the world.